Last weekend, I was in Flagstaff, Arizona for my first bikepacking ultra race called Pinyons and Pines. It's a 310-mile loop that goes north out of Flagstaff, loops around Sedona, and then back up. 310 miles, about 24,000 feet of elevation gain, and I did it on my single-speed Salsa Timberjack. Before this race, the longest day on the bike I've had is 2 100-mile gravel races, and never anything the next day. So going into this race, I was pretty freaked out. I didn't know what was out there for me. Never have ridden through the night, never have done a bikepacking race, never anything this big on a single speed. A lot of firsts. But we're a few days after the race back here in Denver. The body's feeling better, getting recovered. And so I just wanted to take you through the race recap a little bit and a few things about my setup that I ran and how everything went. So first, kind of unpacking the race a little bit. There were about 50 to 55 of us total, men, women, single speed and geared bikes that went out on the Grand Depart Thursday morning. There was about 75 total before the start line, and then some people couldn't travel and things like that. So we all rolled out of town. The first 4 miles were neutral, and then once we hit Schultz Road, the race is on. And so there was a decent climb, gravel climb up to the Arizona Trail from there. I knew I wanted to get on the single track, not behind any drop bar bikes per se. So I was in between the lead group and kind of everybody else on that climb up to the Arizona Trail. Once we got on the AZT, there was about 20 miles of single track that was just so fun, flowy, kind of getting warmed up. A couple hike-a-bike sections. Got to meet a few guys along there. Billy, another single speeder. We pushed a few sections together. After that section, we took mostly double track forest service roads over to a town called Williams, which was about 80-ish miles. There was a gas station there that we could resupply. Then we would go down to Jerome, which riding towards Jerome, there ended up being a really big climb right at sunset into Jerome. That was a beautiful vista. You could just see for miles. Totally kicked my butt. I hiked most of it because I was dead. I was already around 100-ish miles on the day and didn't want to blow up. So I pushed up that climb into Jerome, got a burger and fries and a to-go chicken quesadilla at a place that had like 4 minutes to close. Filled up on water at the fire station, and then it was pitch black outside, and I was about 135 miles in at this point to when I had to climb up and over Mingus Mountain, which I'd only heard things about. Hike a bike for a few miles on the way up, and then some pretty fast single track, double track towards the top, and then you go down something called Black Canyon, which is an unmaintained, very narrow single track trail with 4-foot cactuses and a cliff on one side. So at this point, it's about midnight, and I take what I thought was a sharp turn. It was an S-turn, and I came out and ran straight into a boulder, clipped in, rolled over the boulder into a 4-foot prickly pear cactus, over the cactus, and head first down a cliff at midnight. So that was not enjoyable. I still have cactus spines in my body. I've still been pulling them out with tweezers. I got my multi-tool out and pulled 100 or so out of my knees, specifically right there on trail. It took me an hour and a half. I had to get rid of my riding shorts, get rid of my insulated riding jacket because they were full of needles. I shoved those in my frame bag, and I rode the rest of the race in a chamois and a rain jacket for warmth. So that was definitely an experience there, but the adrenaline was running. I wanted to keep pushing, so I kept going. Got down into Camp Verde around 3 a.m., which was like 175, 180 miles into the race, about halfway. And I got resupplied at a 24-hour gas station there. Got my emergency bivvy out because I was pretty cold, and bivvied in some bushes out back of the gas station. I think I slept for an hour, laid in the bivvy for an hour, got back up and kept going for day 2. which there's a big gravel climb out of Camp Verde, which took me a long time. I felt like I was just not moving at all and that everyone was gonna pass me and I would pretty much just die out there, is the thoughts that were going through my mind right there. Got to the top there, it's some more double track Forest Service roads, and then you take some AZT into Lake Mary, where there's another store. I missed that store by an hour, but I knew people might be catching me, so I just kept pedaling as hard as I could to make some time up. Got to Lake Mary about sunset. From there, you climb back up to Arizona Trail, and that takes you back all the way to Flagstaff. So I was feeling pretty good, and I knew I needed to keep pushing on, so I did. This is where things got a little sideways. I don't remember much other than descending kind of into the Flagstaff Valley and being so cold around 1 a.m. that I rode through like a tunnel under Route 66 right before some more AZT section, and that the tunnel was kind of warm, so I got my bivvy out, crawled in it, cinched it as tight as I could to eat a waffle, and then I ended up falling asleep for like 2 hours. Terribly cold sleep. Got up and started rolling again about 3:30, and that was the final push. We had to climb back up a mountain. It was about a 3,800 foot climb. I hiked most of that, but once I knew I got to the ridge, it was a bombing 10-mile or less descent all the way to the finish line, which was ripping. It was so fun. The mix of downhill single track plus knowing the finish is there totally had me amped up. I came into the finish line right about 50 hours, so 2 days, 2 hours and 45 minutes. I was 3rd place single speed and 9th place overall. So I was really excited with that, and learned so much out there that I need to write it all down, because it's some very important lessons that I don't want to forget. But that was the race. If you have any comments about that, go ahead and write them below and I'll reply to everyone. So just a few things on the rig real quick, and we'll wrap it up. I ran pretty minimally because I knew I would only sleep a little bit. My plan was like 2 hours per night max. So I thought I could go pretty slim, no seat pack, so I could use the full dropper. I left my 2.6 Maxxis tires on, single speed 3220, brand new frame bag from Andrew Strimke at Dispersed Bikepacking. Love this. I totally filled it up and it hauled most of my gear. Sodero long distance, the LD top tube bag for mostly all food. 2 Revelate feed bags, and that was it. So I had a 40-ounce bottle right here on the bars that I would run tailwind in. So that was about 1 liter. This bag I had like waffles and goos and bars in, quick access. On the side pouches here I have things like chain lube, Aquaphor for my lips, some chamois butter. Top tube bag was mostly all bars plus an Anchor 35,000 milliamp charger to charge the Garmin while riding. In here I had a 1 liter water filter that I never had to use because I could make all of the 24-hour gas stations. And then I had 1.5 liters of water that also runs through the top here, and I could just suck on that. Tools. There's a hand pump, high volume hand pump, and a tube in here. The rest of that storage space would be used for food and extra tailwind. I have a little cat eye blinky light here, Ergon saddle, Fox 34 fork, Fox dropper, titanium Crank Bros pedals, White Industry cranks and chainring, Ergon grips, Cane Creek bar ends, XT hydraulic brakes I put on 3 days before the race, a 800 XL light here that I used with a brand new Phoenix PD36R light on the top that I did not have a mount for, so while car camping the night before, I rigged it up with one of these gear wraps, and a strap. So it was a little heavy on the front. I kept sliding my helmet back up, but super good light, only used one battery. Never had to rechange that. Another crucial piece of gear here was my hip bag, also from Dispersed Bikepacking. I had another 1.5 liters in the bottom of this that I could drink from. I had my InReach Mini 2 for the track leaders and tracking / satellite communication if I needed it. The SOL Escape Bivy right here. A Pearl Izumi rain jacket. Looks like an extra waffle. A little bag of batteries, charger cables, small items. And then I had a pillow that I never used, but I thought if I was gonna sleep, I wanted to be comfy, and that's it. On this side of the hip, on this side of the frame bag, there's actually pockets that Andrew puts in his frame bag. So I had a multi-tool in one of them with Dynaplug quick access, some wipes and toilet paper, some Aquamir tablets in case I needed to treat water. Let's see, we've also got a first aid kit. We've got a mud stick, a 2-ounce thing of stands, an extra Garmin mount, multi-tool, and I would have had some extra food over there, as well as shoving my shorts and riding jacket in there when they filled up with cactus needles. One last piece was I had the Garmin Edge 1030 Plus mounted right here between feed bags, and these beautiful brand new custom titanium handlebars from my friend James at Black Sheep Bikes. He got these to me 2 days before I left, and I put them on. Made a big difference on the elbows, the arms, the shoulders, and they are beautiful. I want to give a huge shout out to Dana, the race organizer of Pinyons and Pines. He made the entire weekend pretty powerful for me on my first bikepacking race. Just the way that he brings people together is really special, I think. And as a newcomer, it was really welcoming and really inviting. And it's something that I think is really contagious and that I want to be a part of more. The night before the race, we had a welcome at the trailhead. Got to meet some people, you know, where they came in from, what gear they were going to run, and that was really just like a laid-back event and good time to meet some people that you'd ride with out on the trail, of which I did. So I already got to know a little bit about who I was riding with. As well as after finishing, there was a little group there on the sidewalk where as one person would come in, we'd cheer and get to tell stories of moments out on the trail. Later that night, we all got beers and pizza together and just got to share more stories about what we've done in the past, what we're gonna do in the future, and really just build community in a way of cycling that I haven't experienced anywhere else. And it makes me really excited to continue doing bikepacking races. So huge shout out to you, Dana. You do an amazing job with this event and building community in general. So that's the whole rig and the race recap from my 2022 Pinyons and Pines in Flagstaff, Arizona. If you have any questions, just comment below and I'll reply to all of you. Thanks again for watching, and stay tuned for more videos soon.